Hi guys, welcome back to another P3D version 5 video. We are today flying the Hawker Hunter, and I think this is specifically the... let me have a look actually. It's the F6 version, or F.58. Not really sure if there's a difference. I guess one is the fighter ground attack one and one is the normal fighter one. And this is, let me have a look because they have it on the list, this is the F.58 actually. So the Swiss Air Force typeface scheme, as you can see with the Fliga Staffel 15. So I guess that's like the Fight Squadron 15 or something like that. And we are at Zurich, and we're gonna be doing a small little hop from Zurich to Innsbruck. And I'm hoping to do this, how to put this, I'm hoping to do this whole flight without any help of kind of radios or similar. So let's see if we can do that. Let me just jump back out quickly. I haven't flown this aircraft a lot. As you can see, it's a pretty decent looking model. Maybe not the best. It's a P3D version 5 native aircraft, but it's maybe not the most common one, nor the most high fidelity one, nor the most interesting one, right? It's an early jet aircraft. It broke the speed record at one point. It's pretty sleek and beautiful, but just not that much. I hadn't actually heard about it before I found out that Just Flight had it on sale when I bought it a couple months back. And I do think, let me just have a look quickly if there is any checklist. I don't think there might be an inbuilt one, so I think we'll have to use the Just Flight provided one, and they are usually pretty thorough and relatively easy to kind of follow. You have a nice manual, 32 pages long, so it's not a very long manual compared to some of the other ones, but it kind of showcases them. Well, maybe not light, but kind of the simulation depth that they have aimed for. And I think we can just go ahead with like a full, yeah, we're not going to use the auxiliary tanks or anything, we'll just keep as is. And let me see, so to close the canopy we'll do Shift E. Okay, well, no pilot in there, okay. There's supposed to be a ground power, I think it's that one, there we go. So the left one, is that the secure aircraft switch? No, it's that one. Okay, so we have secured the aircraft. What about this one? That's the pilot one. So now we have a pilot in our aircraft. And that one? I have no clue. Okay, so it's a simple aircraft and not at all sophisticated by today's standard. And that's Just Flight's words. So don't hold me liable for those. And let me just update this view. Let me see what viewpoints we have. Well, this one was also pretty okay actually. Maybe want to keep this one. I'm gonna save the preset position. We have the main panel, but some of them are not very nicely set up for my kind of 3D view. So, or 3D view, my 3-screen view. They look a bit off sometimes. But okay, so it's a simple aircraft, quite conventional, etc. Main panel, center console, left console, right console, and then the control stick which we have in front of us. Yeah, not that movable. And in terms of getting stuff started, what's the cold and dark? Because I guess we don't have an APU since it's such an old aircraft, and I do kind of remember that we don't have that. We do have flaps, intermediate positions up to 60 degrees. Air brakes, it's on the bottom side of the fuselage. So this one is the air brake. So there's some pretty cool stuff. And what else do we have? And the flaps are, let me have a look, electrically and operated, are selected electrically and operated hydraulically. Okay. And we have some some lights inside the cabin. We also have the, which we can't seem to see now. Maybe with this. I'm gonna guess that's the scope. The gun sight. Let me just have a look. I'm gonna guess the battery master should probably put on. And now I'm gonna guess when I move this up, we're gonna get the sight. We don't have any extra payload. You can do those settings with Shift 3. And yeah, so not too much. We have ground power, etc. on. This is our throttle. I'm pretty sure it was in the right position. Yeah, so we can keep it there. So battery should go on. We want to push the HP cock lever to the forward position, wherever that one is. Open, so we have probably like idle. A bit hard to see actually what position we're in, but okay. And let me actually check. Yeah, the throttle is the cock lever thing. Or wait, this is the LP. Sorry, so we want to put that to the forward position. It's the fuel. It's the HP fuel, so high powered fuel cock control. While this is, I guess, the low. Is it low pressure, low power, something like that. And this we want to have in the off position. And tank selector should be in the up position. In the auto position, and I'm pretty sure they are that automatically. We can put the nav lights on, and those we can see are working. One red, one green. That's the booster pump, different circuits. As you can see, a lot of buttons aren't clickable as well, so that's something to keep in mind. The fuel tank selectors are in the auto position, so that's good. The master start switch is this one. So you can press that. We can push a bit forward the throttle, and then we can start. You can see the RPMs go up. And here on the back. There we go. And we have engines on. Doesn't look too much though, but they are on, at least from the game's perspective. And yeah, next steps. The pitot heat switch, it's down here I think. So the pressure head, we want to put that on. And we are basically done. There's not much else. We don't need ground power anymore, so we can basically just switch that one off. And now we're basically ready. And I'm gonna show you my flight plan. I just put it together really quickly. So we want to go here from Zurich to Innsbruck. The problem is the clouds, right? So I want to fly just below the clouds. So we want to fly here to waypoint 1 at Feldkirch. And then we want to just kind of follow the valley. You know, we want to do some nice kind of Top Gun stuff. Probably not very realistic in real life. I do wonder how they train. They probably do a lot of training in the mountains, right? Because that's basically a lot of Switzerland, right? But yeah, that's a question for another day. So in terms of getting ready, we have that on. I'm not sure we have any other lights. Well, let me have a check out the manual, just so we don't forget or miss an obvious. So the right console. Well, we have the panel lights. Those seem to be located here. I'm not sure if they work. They might be the old. Yeah, okay, they do seem to work. Can't really see them with this setting. How does it look? Yeah, okay, we can keep as is. But yeah, we don't really seem to have any other lights. We have the nav lights, right? And then... Interesting though, they don't even mention the nav lights. I guess they don't assume people will really care. In order to make sure that we are going the right way, it might be good to check if there's any way. Well, we have the Zurich VOR, for example, so we know we should be going. So that's 180. So maybe one. I'm trying to think. 90, not really 90. About 110, 120. So we can, I guess, technically put that in. Okay, that's not maybe a bad idea. If we do, so let me see, 150, maybe it's a middle point. And then the question is, how do we set the radios, right? Some of them use the Takan radios, and I have a feeling this one might also be using something similar. So let's see if we... Now, okay, we have the localizer, etc. working. We wanna go 110, etc. Not really sure why this one isn't aligned. Let me check if there's some gyro alignment we have to do. It doesn't seem like it. But at least we'll have this one that will be able to guide us that we're on the right track, right? Okay, we can release the parking brake. We'll add one flap level down. These doesn't seem to work. We have the tail parachute, so that's pretty cool. If I remember correctly, this one doesn't have a tail. Let me have a look actually. So I'm wondering about the steering on the ground. Because I don't think there's any control for the nose wheel, right? So you're basically taxing it with brakes and or differential braking, right? So not the most fanciest way of doing it. Let me just get this one into our... Let's do this position. I think this one showcases most of what we need to see. And we'll just fly without any sort of ATC today, just to have this be a bit quicker. And I think we can take off him from runway 28. It's a shorter runway, but we are a quick aircraft, so it should be pretty easy. We'll just then have to turn around quite a bit so we get to the right heading, right, that we wanna be on. Yeah, it looks like this one is only basically for the heading. So now we're total opposite of our heading that we want to be on. But yeah, as you can see, it's a very simple, a lot of non-clickable buttons. Maybe not for the kind of DCS players. It's more of a fun aircraft. Doesn't cost that much now, which makes sense. I think around what was it, 30 euros? That's a bit expensive. I think that was the price before the price drop that they did on all P3D products. But okay, let's get going. We'll just kind of slam dunk the throttles in. Should be able to manage this. I don't think there's any sort of afterburners or similar. So that's worth keeping in mind. We are now taking off. We can start pitching up. And we're off. And we'll take the landing gears up. Looking pretty good. I haven't really done any flight plan or similar, so we shall see how this goes. We'll just have to kind of feel it, right? With the one thing we could of course have checked is maybe the altimeter setting. That's something you do need. So 303. We're already on flap 0, so that's pretty good. We can fly a bit slower, just to make sure we don't lose control here. It's a bit of a fickle aircraft. You notice it when you're flying. I think the hand flying on it it's quite interesting. Okay, so we're already at the altitude of the clouds, and the question is what altitude. So we're not even at 2,000 feet. So this could of course be problematic because we're gonna go quite high into the mountains, and I'm gonna pitch down a bit. So let's see if we can get below these clouds, and you can kind of immediately notice we don't have any yaw dampener or similar, so the plane is a bit tough to kind of fly. I think we might be going a bit too far south. I'm gonna guess 100 might have been a better heading, so let's have a look. If the weather is too bad, even once we start getting into the mountainous region, I'm gonna just put in a default, because I have a bit of a bad feeling about the weather now. I'm gonna check what LOWI is, but it does look like we have pretty bad cloud, yeah. Okay, it might be a bit difficult to fly, taking into account the weather. Okay, so this is not the one we are looking for. Okay, it's not the... We're a bit to the right, so we're gonna come in on the wrong canyon. The question is, can we go there? I'm gonna have a quick look. We can technically follow this canyon, we'll just have to make a left turn a pretty early stage. Okay, let's see. How is it looking from the outside? We're flying pretty nicely, disturbing all these people. This is Matthias, Switzerland. So it's very beautiful scenery actually. And we can see the beautiful Alps, which really are helped by pilot mesh. And I'm not even using it to their fullest extent. I only have it on 5 meters because some of the Orbex scenery doesn't work with lower mesh. That's something to keep in mind. But yeah, very, very beautiful, very green country, Switzerland. Okay, so we'll be flying here in between the mountains. And let's actually have a look. Is this... Oh, look at that, you even have a river. So I'm wondering if this is... Because this looks a bit too good of a river. I mean, I'm assuming it's from the mountains, so maybe it's fresh water or something like that, or maybe they use it for barges or similar. But okay, so we haven't really followed our flight plan, even though we have tried. But at least we'll get some nice views down here in between the mountains. And we'll turn to the left here. Yeah, you can see some of these are not, the mesh is going a bit off with the placement of the buildings. That could be the pilot mesh I'm using. But look at these beautiful mountains. Look a bit odd though. I'm not sure if it hasn't loaded in or if it's just bad. I mean, it looks good at a distance, right? Gonna slow down a bit. And let's see, we are on flap 0, right? Yeah. So all of that is correctly set. But we can kind of see the cloud layer above us, so we... Of course, if we get lost, if we run into some really bad cloud layer, we can just go crazy high up. We're in a fighter jet, right? So that shouldn't be a problem. Let's be careful. I mean, technically you can fly like this, but it's I would guess it would lead to a stall, or at least increase the chances pretty big, because you no longer have wings. You're basically flying using the rudder as as your wings, right? Okay, still feeling some weird. Guess we should maybe have set up a bit of a trimmer or some rudder trim. Okay, we want to get into the right valley, so we're gonna turn left here so we can get to Rankweld and Wilkirch, or whatever they're called. So we're kind of coming out again. I'm gonna turn a bit steeper, have a look to our right. Looks very beautiful, very nice. And since this aircraft isn't so demanding, it's also not really taking that much resources, right? Everything is kind of loading as it should. We can see here the clouds are pretty low, so we gotta still pay attention to that. My hope is, of course, that we can make the rest of the flight just by keeping ourselves below the cloud layer and just do a smooth landing. But yeah, not that much here. We have the VOR, right? So if you're doing ILS approaches or similar, if you want to fly VORs, you can of course choose bigger tanks, etc. In terms of the fuel, we can see it here, right? So we have ample amount of fuel, not a whole lot, right? But we're flying quite low, so that's gonna be eating up a lot of our fuel. Yeah, let's turn here. And at some place you can see buildings missing, so that could be due to the photo reel of Matthias not really working, or because I'm flying a bit too fast. It's not the big of a problem when you're flying high above and then you slow down, but with these fighters you can fly really fast, right? Okay, so we'll turn into here, into this valley, and let's make sure we don't go too high. So we don't want to end up in the cloud layer. We do want to have visibility. And since Switzerland is neutral, right, I doubt you would see a Swiss fighter fly to Innsbruck. At least for a normal basis. Okay, so let's see now how we're gonna be doing this. We're not taking this left turn, it's gonna be the next one. And then basically it's gonna be following it with small left turns till we get into the valley that I should be able to recognize towards Innsbruck. So it's pretty short. I think this one was about 10 nautical miles. Then we have a 22 kind of straight, then a 20, 10, and then we should be at Innsbruck. But as you can see, it's getting higher, right? So we gotta be a bit careful. But yeah, it's a very different terrain than what someone from the north is used to, right? People might think places like Finland and Sweden have a lot of mountains, but we really don't. Finland specifically is really flat. A lot of forests. But yeah, the ice age has taken its toll. Okay, so we're gonna be turning here. Let's pay attention to that cloud layer. Because we're still quite low. Yeah, we're not very high. We're at 4,000 feet, give or take. Yeah, we started a bit higher than I thought. I do have tendency to sometimes read these old altitude indicators wrong. But this makes sense, right? So if the mountain, or if the cloud layer is at 5,000, then it makes sense we're at 4, because we're just kind of skimming below it. As you can see, the mesh is not really fluid here, so some of the buildings are up in the air. Let's see how this is gonna go. Actually, we might be we're risking it a bit, because we should go straight here. So we're basically not following the canyon. A better route might have been to go a bit south, and that way kinda make it through. But we should be fine. Let's just try to stay close to the ground. And bail in case we feel like we're really going off. I saw this really good video about pilots coming to mountainous regions and flying, and specifically if they're from the lowlands, and the kind of risks that entail, right? Because they won't be too well versed with, you know, the risk of flying into a valley, and you know, you don't have the power with a general aviation plane to get out, right? You get in too deep. Okay, let's see. We'll just turn here a bit so we get a bit of a view, and then we can start turning here and start turning down. So still looking good. Ooh, we're breezing. We're just about touching the clouds. So let's continue down. And there must be a lot of slopes, etc. This definitely looks like there's, you know, skiing going on here. Probably skiing as well. And I guess during the summer months maybe people hike. Okay, still looking good. Or maybe that's a bit optimistic, but still looking reasonable. And now I've been trying not to check little nav map, but I think it's basically following and then a bit to the left, and then we can just kind of follow the valley. That should be it. So it looks a bit familiar now, and we can see kind of the weather has been breaking up a bit, so that's good. Okay, let's turn here so we don't end up smashing into that. We can pitch up a bit as well. Yeah, we don't really have a VOR. I mean, we should have probably set it to receive the Innsbruck one, but let's see how if we can land on time. Or sorry, not land on time, but let's see if we can find it without using the VOR. And I think, I mean, based on the cloud layers, I don't think there should be a problem with finding the the airfield or being able to see it, right, and land at it. We won't need any vertical or glide slope guidance. The main thing will be to watch our speed a bit, and of course use flaps where necessary. And it's still looking pretty nice. I do feel like we've changed a bit the theme here, so I'm wondering if we're actually now starting to come into the... I do remember, I think, this mountain top, right? So I do feel like we are at kind of the Innsbruck area now. It's a bit higher resolution here on the photo reel. And we're noticing some of that turbulence. You can see it on the aircraft as well, the force is kind of acting upon it. My guess is it's because due to the mountains. It's probably not the aircraft itself, it's probably one of the Acoufield or active sky that's adding that effect. Okay, let's see, we can do the left one or the right one, and I think we're gonna do... I think we can do the right one. I think that's the easier way to... We can do that one as well. We're both gonna end up in the same place. At least if I remember correctly. How's it looking on the outside? Looking pretty good. We're going pretty fast. We're at around 400 knots, so way above the 250 knots. You can see it here now, it's starting to come back a bit because I've lowered the speed quite a bit, just to make sure that we can get the flaps, etc., everything ready for landing. Because now we're really getting into Innsbruck. It's just going to be to the right here and then to the left. So I'm going to slow down. I mean, we took off at around 150, so if we can land at that, maybe a bit below, but specifically with all the flaps out, we should be fine. But let's see. Still going quite fast. We do have the speed brake, so we can use that to regulate quite effectively. I mean, now it's full and you can see the knots kind of fall, or the speed falling off here. And if you want to see how it looks on the outside, that's the speed brake, right? Funny part also, if you add it, you note a little bit of a pitch down kind of tendency, right? So that's pretty interesting. Okay. Yeah, look at it's very nice, this I think it's the Orbex Innsbruck, right? And I think isn't the Orbex one Gaia potentially? I do wonder if these are slopes, right? Must be very nice to ski here. And what's that old joke, right? Like, you have the ski lift, they are first built for use in Switzerland, and when the Swiss are done with the ski lifts, they sell them to the Austrians, and the Austrians use them, and then when the Austrians are done with them, they sell them to the Italians. Some old joke I heard back in the day. I guess made as a sort of joke to showcase that the Swiss, they take the best care of their ski lifts, and then it's the Austrians, and then it's the Italians. But I've heard good things about the Italian skiing in Italy as well, so not sure how well that holds up anymore. Okay, let's see, we're gonna turn here. Okay, looking pretty good. Now we're below 250 knots, which is good, because we are gonna wanna come in for landing. And let's see if we can maintain. Still looking pretty good. And what we are gonna have to do is start putting the gear down. And we can see the airport there. So the puppies, it's gonna be a left turn. So what I'm gonna do now It's already put the gear downs. We just want to be ready on time. There's no point in rushing anything, or I'm gonna add a bit of thrust and trim the plane up a bit, just a tiny bit. I'm gonna add a bit more flaps. I'm gonna try to maintain the altitude here. We're a bit low, so we're gonna climb a tiny bit, just watching our speed. And let's see, I don't want to add too much flaps because that's gonna give our maneuverability a bit of a hit, since we don't have any jaw dampeners, etc. to keep us stable. Not that we should need that, right? It's not. It's I guess a bigger issue with the larger planes. Okay, I'm gonna start adding the flaps now and start slowing down a bit. Okay, we're now on flaps full. You can see them, right? They're really down. Looks like the Comet, right? Okay, we're gonna add a bit more speed. I'm a bit worried about being too low, too fast, or too slow as well. We won't be able to see our landing rate though. Maybe for the best, considering my not the best landings with the TriStar. But I guess we'll notice if it's too hard, right? The key will be to get landing with the back wheels first. Okay, looks pretty good. Now we have one yellow poppy. Yellow poppy, that sounds wrong. Or not the yellow part, but the poppy part, right? Saying that you have one poppy, two poppy. Been watching too much TikTok, I guess. Okay, let's see, we'll slow down. We're slowing down. And we are turning the nose up. There we go. We don't have any thrust, but we should have that one. So let's see. And we can brake and look at that little thing. Oh, is it enough? No. We're just about gonna overrun the runway. Ah, almost. Should have broken a bit earlier. But we almost did it. We almost did it. Better than nothing. And I guess we can get this on it after that. Yeah, so a bit too late of a landing, and I didn't start braking. I started braking way too late. But at least we probably should have survived. We might have broken a bit of the lights here. But, you know, we will take that. I've overrun this runway multiple times. Yeah, you need to be careful when you're landing here, you know, get down on time and just use all available things you have to stop on time. But yeah, look at this, it's a very beautiful airport. So let's see, we're just gonna stop here and then I'm gonna have a look at the replay. And then we're gonna wrap up for today. A short flight, but a fun flight. I might actually do this. Oh, now we're gonna go out of bounds again. Yeah, you gotta be a bit careful with the... And I even had full flaps, right? So imagine how long it would have taken me to stop without those. But yeah, you gotta be a bit careful with its... you know, it's kind of crude, right? It won't have all the systems, right? So it basically flies as good as you fly it. Yeah, as you can see, it takes a bit of time for it to spool up, and then you'll gain a lot of speed, so gotta be careful. So we're gonna turn here, and is that one of the Bombardiers CL? The nice add-on there is for X-Plane, right? The hot starter. And let's see, I don't think there's any nice GA spots for me here. Maybe we can just squeeze in here between. Maybe here right to the right of the King Air, or I think that's the King Air, right? Yeah, this looks like it's meant for us. So let's see, we'll just about squeeze in. Not our best parking, not our worst. And yeah, I think we're done. We're not gonna shut down stuff because we don't need to. There's no need for the replay itself or for seeing the landing rate. So in terms of the approach, I was pretty happy. We're a bit too low. That's something to keep in mind. There's no need. We can quickly get down with the fighter jet, such as the Hawker Hunter. And maybe when I get here, actually, a nice thumbnail, right? In for the landing. Yeah, let's see. So yeah, we're a bit low. Pretty nice view. This is one of my favorite approaches to do in P3 just because it's a very well made scenery, right? They're just kind of added all those things that, you know, make it a lot of fun. Of course it helps a lot because you're kind of funneled into the approach, right? Okay, but let's see. I want to see the landing itself. I wasn't too happy with how the landing then went, right? Because we went out of bounds, but I want to see how we touched down. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. We should start braking at this point, right? We can't see the parachute though, so that's a bit sad. And then we went out of bounds. But yeah, pretty decent. So yeah, I'm not gonna keep you any longer. I just wanted to showcase this aircraft. Not my favorite. I'm hoping to showcase some of their better ones. I might actually do them all with this actual journey, because it's a good one just to show the military ones. Seeing kind of manual handling, etc. One thing also, they have special offers on all of them. You can go to the Just Flight page and then special offers, and you'll find all of these. Avro Vulcan, for example, I had that one as well. Hunter, a lot of these nice ones. Tornado, hell, even the TriStar is pretty good. Canberra, PR9. I don't have this one, but it looks pretty good. This is kind of the same fidelity as the Vulcan, so very nice aircraft. But yeah, so they are at a very good price now. This one I maybe wouldn't recommend if you're, you know, low on money and you're looking for a nice. I would say the Tornadoes are probably nicer, and the Vulcan is definitely nicer. Hell, even the Hawk T1, which I'm gonna get at some point. The trainer looks pretty damn cool. And there's a lot of freeware ones, right? The Milovis aircraft, they work in P3 version 5, and then you also have, of course, Airplane Heaven and all the India Fox Techno or Teco or whatever they're called, planes that are really, really good fidelity as well, which I can thoroughly recommend. But yeah, that was it. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below, and otherwise, until next time, bye bye.